Not every mid-career professional is passionate about their career, and that's okay. As we navigate our career journeys, we'll experience all of the ups and downs, highs and lows more than once. Today, I am joined by Dr. Joy Zhao, who will help you define the true purpose of your work and help you shift perspectives as you navigate your mid-career GPS through various career and leadership challenges. Let's get started. Hello, my friends. This is the Mid-Career GPS podcast, and I'm your host, John Nerrill. I help mid-career professionals like you find a job they love or love the job they have using my proven four-step formula. I've known today's guest for a few years because she and I have both served as coaches for Next Up's Rising Stars program. I respect and admire her work, and I want you to meet her. Coach Joy Zhao, an MD, PhD, and ICF PCC certified executive coach, has charted her remarkable career journey from an immigrant to a 2 times Fortune 100 data science AI executive, overcoming fear and doubt along the way. Not only has she developed hundreds of leaders and impacted thousands through her executive coaching, she has also recently made a significant leap. Driven by a profound calling, she courageously left behind a high-profile and well-paid executive role to devote herself to empowering Asian women leaders. With her guidance, you will learn how to show up with more confidence and courage, fulfilling your life's purpose with abundance and joy. So, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Joy Zhao. Dr. Joy Zhao, welcome to the Mid-Career GPS podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, John. It's my pleasure to be here.
So, Joy, I shared a little bit in the intro that you and I have known each other through Next Up's Rising Stars program, where we both have served as coaches before with them. And so having an opportunity to bring you on and talk about your career path and the people you help has definitely been on my list. So I'm glad we get to do this today. Joy, as we get started, I'd love for you to share with everybody, what was your mid-career moment?
I would say, thank you for the question, John. That really made me think. I would go back a couple years ago, and I realized what's the true purpose of the work. And for me, in my mind, there are 4 different ways of thinking about work. The first one, it's a job. And there's nothing wrong with that. You could put time and energy, you get work done, and you get paid. It's an exchange, right? Mm-hmm. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. We all, maybe most of us start our work as looking at it as a job. Well, there's more, right? And the second way I think work is it could be your career. You know, John, your podcast is Mid-Career GPS. It's really, you're doing all the wonderful things to help people with their career. And career for me is you see a long term for you. You see a future. You have expectation of what this work is going to bring you to or bring something to you. So this is like, there's more than the job, it's a career for you. And you're very hopeful when you think about it. Does that make sense for you before I go forward?
It makes sense. No, absolutely. You talk about the whole purpose of job and career. I just want to take it back a little bit of a second, though. It's like, how did you get to understand, and we still have to talk about the other 2 pieces as well, but how did you come to this realization that when you talk about the true purpose of work, that they're in these definitive buckets?
Absolutely. That actually came to me at the time I was going through my own transformation. You know, it was almost my made point of the career. You know, after I went through jobless twice in America, reset my life, reset my career in America. then I start a job that I was searching. I went to the university to do the wet lab. Then I switched myself to doing a data analysis at a research institute. After that, I went to Chase and to lead a data mining team. And after that, I went to Nationwide Insurance and to lead a data science team. So there's a lot of things happened during my transformation, particularly after a big career setback. And then I went through it and everything became different to me because I transformed myself.
Mhm.
And that's where, like, wow, looking back, looking forward, looking around, and I have a different way to see the work.
When you were going through this part in your career that you describe as this piece of transformation, what were some of the things that were going on for you, particularly what you were thinking about or considering that helped you navigate toward ultimately what was going to be next?
That's a great question. Maybe I'll finish the other two stage because that's really relevant
Yeah,
to
so let's
question.
go there, right? So you've talked about job, you've talked about career. So what's the third true purpose of work?
The third one is the work is your passion.
Okay.
When you come to this work you're having, you love it. You love what you do. You enjoy the people you're working with, and you start, looking forward to coming to work. And you might even ask for things you're not doing, like, hey, I really love doing that, working with people and to get to work on things. And you find that level, the deeper level of satisfaction. And it's even, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so you move from this place of I have a job, I have a career, now I have a passion. So we're
Mhm.
playing at a whole different level in terms of our work life, right? And
Ab-
we hear people a lot of times and they'll say, "Oh, I'm very passionate about this," or "I'm very passionate about that." You're defining it in a much deeper way. Am I correct?
I think so. That's how it led to the fourth way because you keep thinking like, what's more there? I'm a Christian. So a lot of people know me, they know I'm a Christian. And I also felt the calling. The work can be the calling is that's where you're supposed to be at that time. And that's what you're supposed to do. And the people around you are who's supposed to be with you at this time. And you're fulfilling a higher purpose. And in your connection, you're feeling you're connected to the higher power. For me, it's God. For other people, they might have their own higher power. And that sense of transcendence or the even deeper level, or you can say even higher level, it goes both ways.
Sure.
Sometimes
Yeah.
this higher purpose bring the deeper level of the satisfaction, the happiness, and you feel like you have unlimited energy when you feel that way.
Can a mid-career professional, Joy, in your expertise and experience, can they live where they're getting up every day and they're simply going to their job and still be satisfied in what they're doing?
Generally speaking, I think we can.
Okay.
However, it does not happen easily. It won't feel like snap your finger, the world changed. That's the magic we all want to have, right? However, if we are willing to, if we wanted to, if we're committed to, we can. That takes a lot of inner work. That's why what we do, right, John? We're
Right.
doing coaching and we're supporting people to do their inner work.
Yeah. And I know for the people who are listening, especially those who are in a period of job or career transition, that whole idea about finding their passion or finding their calling may seem like a huge lift initially, right?
Yeah.
It's especially for those people who are, let's say, currently looking for work or they are unemployed, that getting to a place where they're like, okay, I've got the job. I'm doing work I like. Can I move through these other true purposes of work and get to a place where I'm even more fulfilled or more satisfied? Can that happen?
I think we can. And I did that. A lot of people, a lot of other people we supported, they did that. Most of the time, I think we can. It's it's how much people are waiting to do the work, right?
Mm.
Um, in my way, I think there are smaller things we could do, right?
Yeah.
For example, how do we live our life? How do we show up at work? And sometimes we're waiting for that great purpose to dawn on us. I do think a lot of time is the purpose might be revealed to us. The passion might be revealed to us when we are doing things big or small, when we're taking the actions, scary or peaceful. So that's how I often say, when I was working at the corporate or the client I'm familiar, and sometimes I would say, there are three things you could do every day. You show
Mhm.
up, you speak up, you step up. There are
Mm.
many, many opportunities you could do that. And even the interns at my prior workplace, I say that as well. And they find it's very useful because every day we could show up with the courage and do the things that scare us, and you can always speak up.
Mhm.
Speak up for yourself and speak up for other people. And of course, speak up doesn't always mean the words. Sometimes it's a listening, is how you understand others, is how you use the words as well, how you articulate, how you do the storytelling. Those are all the important things, right?
Yeah. And what I like about this part of the conversation, Joy, is that you're giving more context to what being passionate is. Right.
Mm,
So a lot of times I will have people reach out to me or I'll start working with a new client and we'll start doing some storytelling or interview prep. And I was like, okay, how do you answer the tell me about yourself question? And
mm,
a lot of times people will say, oh, well, I'm really passionate about this. And it triggers so much inside of me where like I I almost get to like a visceral reaction where I'm just like, ugh, right? Because somebody told us along the way that if we say we're passionate, everybody understands what that means. And we don't. Right. And so when I was hiring talent and someone would come in and they say, oh, I'm really passionate about educating children, or I'm passionate about leadership, or I'm passionate about assessment. But okay, what does that mean? Like, tell me why.
mm.
And the way that you've positioned this in terms of this true purpose of work, where we have a job, a career, a passion, and a calling, I hope for everybody listening starts kind of seeing where the passion is far more than the career. It is of interest and value to what you get to bring. It is also your responsibility to act on it and communicate it so people understand what that means.
100% true,
Okay.
John. That it really resonate with me deeply because a lot of time it's really easy to say, but do we take actions that align with our words, right? We
Mhm.
got to do the small things and we got to take the tiny steps. We got to do a lot of, you know, seemingly and impactful. However, the enough of small steps coming together, it will make a big impact.
Hey there. Have you ever been hesitant to like a LinkedIn post about finding a new job because you're fearful of being seen by your employer or colleague? I get it. I see you, my friend. Since you're already listening to this podcast, I want to help you get an even bigger win in your career. And to do that, I'm inviting you to join my free email community and subscribe to the Mid Career GPS newsletter. It's delivered to your inbox twice each week with helpful tips, strategies, and resources to help you find that job you love or love the job you have. It's all free, and you can subscribe by visiting my website at johnnerrell.com check the show notes or my LinkedIn. For now, let's get back to the episode. So, Joy, you are known as a leader's leader. Okay. You coach a lot of executives, particularly Asian women, and you help
Mhm.
them as they navigate their career and everything. Can you tell us how you help shift a leader's perspective when they are
Mhm.
always trying to fix everything themselves?
What an awesome question, John. Um, my main I have a lot of clients that they are Asian women. However, I realize, those are the universal rules applied to a lot of people.
Sure.
And it's in fact, in my heart, I'm closer to Asian women because I am one of them.
Hmm.
What I have observed in my years, either at a corporate or as a coach, I realized there are three, three is a magic number for me. There are kind of three stages we all go through to really transform ourselves and maybe have these choices, have the freedom of choices to actually see the world with the perspective. And I love how you use the word of perspective. That's how I often say that as well, because we are what we think. Our perspective is very critical. How we see ourselves, how we see other people, how we see the world. How we see all this depend, that will decide how much we understand ourselves, understand others, and understand the world, that will lead to possibly acceptance.
Mm.
We can accept ourselves, accept other people, or accept, what's happening in the world as part of the fact, and we ultimately have more peace. That will give us a lot of energy to actually go forward. And I would say maybe thinking about three different stages. And sometimes when I see that, and people will laugh. It's okay if if our audience is laughing when you're hearing that. But one is your willingness and open your eyes to see. That's a first step. A lot
Yeah.
of time.
So, Joy, I'm wondering if you can play with me on this for a
Yeah.
second, because I'd love to take an example and
Hmm.
walk the listeners through these three keys that you have for shifting perspective. And so,
Hmm.
as I understand from you, they are being open to see, seeing clearly, and seeing through.
Yes.
So, rather than put you on the too much on the spot here, is there a particular example you want to share with us about guiding a leader through, or do you
Hmm.
want me to give you one?
Well, I love your example, John. Let's do that.
See, Joy, this is the fun part about interviewing somebody you've had a chance to work with and know.
Yeah.
Is that, like, I normally wouldn't do this to somebody, but I'm like, we can play, right? We can do this, okay? All right.
Yes.
So let's set the stage. Okay. So we're talking about a mid-level, mid-career professional who is a senior manager, and
Hmm.
they really, really want to get promoted to director. Okay. They've been told that they're quote unquote doing all the right things, but they're just not there yet. Okay. So, one of the pieces of feedback that this particular senior manager has received is that their relationship with their team is very transactional.
Mm.
Is the project delivered on time? Why is the project over budget? Everything is very quick, short, to the point. Give me the data, give me the facts. There's not that there needs to be a lot of warm and fuzzy, but the team
Hmm.
doesn't feel connected to them.
No wonder.
Okay, right. All right. So if you were working with them and you were helping them shift their perspective,
Hmm.
right? So they could build better connection and relationships with their team.
Hmm.
Walk us through those three shifting perspectives, starting with being open to see.
Absolutely. I would start with asking this person, like, what are you feeling about your team, your relationship with your team? And these sounds like stacking questions. In the real scenario, we will
Oh,
ask
sure,
them
yeah.
by one, right? But now I think we will do it at a higher level. I think I'll be interested to hear this person, like, how are you feeling about all this? I won't be surprised if this person is a little frustrated, unhappy, or maybe having judgmental feelings about people, right? And because sounds like we wanted to hear the answer from them directly, but just hearing the story from you sounds like this transactional is how he is thinking about his promotion as well. And we all know promotion is not a transactional either. It's not like you're doing 1, 2, 3, 10 things and the quantity you fit, you check the boxes and you will be promoted. It doesn't work that way based on my own experiences.
Sure.
The promotion is when you're ready for the next level, you have ability to lead a bigger team and you have strategic thinking, you have relationship build that you are ready to step into the next role. But sounds like this leader might even have trouble to perform his current role. So to answer your question, I wanted to start, asking questions, understand how much does he know about himself and the people around him and the situation he's in. Does
Okay.
that help?
It does, right? And so for the listeners out there, when Joy and I talk about we don't want to stack questions, it means you ask more than one question at a time, right? So like, and this is something else too that's going on in interviews. Just as an aside, I'm hearing this from clients as well. They'll be asked a question and it'll be 2 or 3 questions at once. It can be really hard for you as the job candidate to make sure you're hitting all those questions. So there are some strategies to do. One simply being write down those questions so you know what to answer. But normally when we ask questions, we want to ask one question at a time. Okay. So
Yeah.
Joy, I love that, right? So you're opening up their perspective. You're asking these questions to get really curious about their interactions, their trust, where they are in terms of their confidence and competence in their role. When you move them to see the next perspective, which is about seeing clearly, what do you want to have happen there?
In order for this person or any other person to move forward, they got to have the acceptance of where they are.
Mhm.
Because what they think of themselves in their mind is not aligned with what other people perceive about him. So there is a gap there. There got to be alignment. Whenever he could have the ability to see, like, oh, now I understand. Now I understand why I have all these feedback, and now I understand what's real happening. Or for to say it bluntly, what's wrong with the situation? What's wrong with me that I could change? Otherwise, the denial of the situation, the denial of the feedback, or even sometimes defensive of, what other people are giving them the feedback, they won't be able to unstuck or move forward or move out of the stage they are.
Right.
Yeah.
And so after you've helped them do that, and certainly this isn't a snap of the fingers, and this happens over multiple coaching sessions and stuff,
Yeah.
what does seeing through that situation look like?
So seeing after they can see, they accept like, oh, this is what's happening. I did not realize. When they realize they open to see, then, we can teach them different tactics to see it objectively, right? We could, for example, what do you think your team member would feel when you say this? And what do you think your boss would feel or, think if you do this and that? So this exchange of the view, right? You wear other people's shoes or whatever you say, help them to see different ways that shift their perspective gradually, like, oh, no wonder they react that way, right? All our thoughts, emotions, and actions, they are all connected. And those are the things we could support them to see it objectively and see it through what look like, well, when they react that, what do you think their motivations, their intentions, or their feelings would be? So that would be, looking at the surface and understanding the thinking emotions behind it. I think that seeing it through is really the insight of the wisdom will come from.
Mm. And I like how you phrase that too, because there's so much clarity at that stage,
Yeah,
right? The leader then knows how they want to navigate that situation because they are able to objectively see all of the different perspectives around them. And in a lot of ways, Joy, based on our work too, it's helping them get out of their own way.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's beautifully said.
Yeah.
And if I could add one more comment, as they develop their objective view and they gain the deeper understanding of themselves and others, that compassion and caring will come out more of them. And guess what? And make it easier for them to actually connect with other people and building the trust.
Right.
And that all naturally, happening where we see outside will be like, oh, this person changed. And, we see the stronger leadership and he leads better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joy, we're going to start wrapping up in a moment, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. So, as someone who has navigated through a lot of different environments and industries and companies, and certainly understands the power and benefit of coaching, what advice would you give to a mid-career professional who's listening who really wants to hire a coach, but either their company may not provide that kind of support for them, or they're not sure they can afford one on their own? What's the biggest benefit you see from leadership coaching that helps people show up differently?
I would say it always worth it, your time, your energy, and maybe even the money you invested in yourselves. It doesn't only change your career. I want to say that responsibly, that it changes everything about you. Because when you change, everything else changes for you. And the job, the colleagues, the team, and maybe the positions and salary, but also remember, work and job is only part of your life, and there is a bigger scheme of your life. When you're spending, when you're waiting to invest in yourself, your life changes too. Relationship with your loved ones. For me, my relationship with my husband, my kids, and even my mother, it all changed. They all change. I mean, those are priceless,
Sure.
right? So every time I always say, to people, anytime you think you are in your own way, you want it to be a better version of yourself, invest in yourselves. You know, hiring a coach, working with a coach, that would be the best because coaches are trained to support people to move forward, to unstuck you to move forward. If not, anytime reading the books and listening to the maybe the podcast like
Mhm.
yours, mid-career GPS, and I'm sure everybody will get benefited from it.
Yeah.
Back to that, willingness to do the inner work and willingness to change. That's really the key.
Yeah. So thank you for that. It's always nice when they get to hear from somebody else about that too. So thank you. So,
Yes.
Joy, as we think about everybody who's been listening to this conversation, what advice would you give for them to help
Mhm.
them build their mid-career GPS today?
Absolutely. I probably will have three advice. First one we already mentioned, right? The daily actions. No matter how big your purpose and how many goals you have, long term and short term, it all distilled into the daily actions. Show up, speak up, and step up. That's really the key. That's the number one. Two, really understand who you are, understand what you are capable of. Don't let other people define you. We won't have time to get to it, but I learned a lot of lessons from my life that You got to believe in yourself and what you want, what you're capable of, and then, make an effort to make it happen. So that's believe in yourself and build yourself. Sometimes people, out of the love, they say the things to you, but it may not useful. It may not be useful for you. And the third one, I really want everybody to hear out loud, that build partnerships. The partnerships that create a win-win situation, or even win-win-win solutions. The more wins, the better. I deeply believe the world is an abundant place. There are so many opportunities for all of us. At home, at work, in the community, you can always build partnerships and work with others and be the blessing of others.
Well said, my friend. Well said. So, Joy, if people want to find you, connect with you, learn from you, I'm going to turn the mic over to you. Please tell us all the great places where people can find you.
Absolutely. So I actually have the LinkedIn profile. I think, being 15 years in the professional world, LinkedIn is probably the main place that you can see a lot of my activities. So I will provide the link in, find Wei Joy, Zhao. Hopefully you can find the links, after the podcast. I also have my email. You can always email me, joy@joycoaching.org, or you can check out my website at joycoaching.org. I will do my best to update the website.
Got it. So I'm laughing because this is the part where I'm just going to tell people what's going on. So my mouse died and I can't scroll up on the document now to remember how to spell your last name because I get the vowel and the consonant mixed up. So please tell our listeners how you spell your last name so they can find you on LinkedIn as well.
Absolutely. My last name, Zhao, that's a Chinese name spelled as Z as in zebra, H-A-O.
Got it. Okay. So Zhao. I'll make sure we link up to all of that in the show notes. And of course, you and I are connected on LinkedIn as well. But Dr. Joy Zhao, thank you so very much for being a wonderful guest on the Mid-Career GPS podcast.
Thank you for having me. I have so much fun, John. Thank you.
I did too. Absolutely. So my friends, as we wrap up today, here's a big takeaway that I have that I want to share with you. Joy listed out 4 true purposes of work for us. She talked about us having a job, having a career, having a passion, and having a calling. You can be at any one of those 4 stages right now. Every single one of them is going to serve you. And if you have a job, don't beat yourself up for not having a calling. You will get there, right? And if you are, you're at the career stage and you're like, yeah, I'm not really sure I'm all passionate about what I'm doing, you will figure that out. But wherever you are, own what your purpose is for work. And to coin another one of Joy's phrases, as you think about going through each day, make sure you show up, you speak up, and you step up. So I hope you found today's conversation helpful. If you found today's conversation helpful, you could really help Joy and me out. Share this episode with somebody you know. Just capture the link, send it to them in a text message or a LinkedIn message. Share this conversation with them. It certainly helps spread the news and the information about this podcast and about Joy as well. So until next time, my friends, remember this. You will build your mid-career GPS 1 mile or 1 step at a time, and how you show up matters. Make it a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening to the Mid-Career GPS podcast. Make sure to follow on your favorite listening platform. And if you have a moment, I'd love to hear your comments on Apple Podcasts. Visit johnnerrell.com for more information about how I can help you build your mid-career GPS, or how I can help you and your organization with your next workshop or public speaking event. Don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn and follow me on social at John Nerrell Coaching. I look forward to being back with you next week. Until then, take care and remember, how we show up matters.